Now back to our top story and the impact of the recent winter storm. Some people were left without electricity or other utilities for days. So that's when they reach out for help. And Irving Cares is there to answer that call. CEO Kyle Taylor is our guest. He's also an Irving City Councilman. Thanks for being here, Kyle.
Well, thanks for having me.
Sure. And tell me about some of the ways Irving Cares responded to the storm.
Several ways that we responded was we had an increase in demand for food to continue to provide those services. The other thing is we worked really hard to try to collect water. We knew there were a number of folks in Irving that needed water. So we reached out to a number of our retail partners and our corporate partners and asked for water, and then was able to provide numbers of bottles and cases of waters to apartment complexes that have been impacted by the water. Second thing is we've had a number of phone calls of folks asking about where they can get repair help or plumbing help. So we kind of put together a quick little list of local folks in Irving that provide those services and gave them direct contact number to those folks to try to reach out and get the repairs done on their houses.
And you were also involved at the city's warming stations, correct?
Yes, we were called this Parks Department, and Jason Carey, who runs emergency management, they reached out to us and asked us to show up and bring some food and water and supplies to the warming stations, which I thought was a really great idea that the city did to open up. We had so many families that did not have power as a quick place to go get warm when they didn't have power. Like, I didn't have power in my house for over 8 hours at a time, so it was great to have a place like that for them to be able to go provide that for our residents.
And now the lights are back on for everybody, but you're still talking with clients. What lingering impacts are you seeing?
There's a lot of lingering impact, a lot of concerns about how to work with the utility companies or their landlords regarding paying their bills and making sure they stay in good standing with their utility companies and with their landlords, working with that. And just where to go to get information to be able to handle those things that they're dealing with. Of course, we're still seeing a strong demand for food, strong demand for financial assistance, rent and utilities, as well as a growing demand all of a sudden now for education and employment so people can make more money to better protect themselves in the future moving forward in case something like this happens again.
And that gets at the next topic, is kind of broadening the view beyond the storm. For any new viewers of this program or new residents to Irving, what types of services overall are you and your team able to provide to clients at Irving Cares?
Well, I really appreciate you asking that. There's a couple of things. We have rejoined back up with our mental health group that is now back in our offices a couple of days a week. So if somebody's really struggling, having to deal with not knowing where to go, we provide a mental health solution or service for them now through our partnership relationship with IPS. Of course, we always had the food pantry, financial assistance, rents, utilities. We've added another utility company to our bucket to where we can actually expand the different types of utility companies that we work with, financial assistance, and of course our education and employment to help folks get to those living wage jobs and empower them to be self-sufficient are the things that the three-legged stool that Irving Cares has always stood on for many years in the city.
And we know you've been confronting more than the recent winter storm. How has the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic affected the needs you see at Irving Cares?
So it's been really interesting. For very first when it started out, it was a lot of food. Now a lot of it has started to turn to those financial assistance, rent and utilities, making sure they're okay and they don't have to deal with getting evicted or having their lights turned off, especially coming out of the winter storm. The third, we are starting to see a really strong increase in folks wanting to find those recession-proof or downturn-proof jobs. So a lot of requests coming into us for employment and education assistance as we move through this. We know that's going to be a big demand. We also know that as federal and state authorities kind of change the way governing and the way things are working and decisions they're making affecting people with evictions and stuff, we will start to see that increase continue to be strong, looking for rental assistance and financial assistance.
So hearing all of this, how can people help? What are your biggest needs at Irving Cares right now?
Well, I think the biggest thing right now is to remember anytime we have a pandemic or a weather storm like we had, the city really shows up in force for that. But the thing they got to remember is poverty never takes a holiday, poverty never takes a vacation. And we have a number of families inside of our city that struggle just to make ends meet. So even though you've given once before, given during a emergency situation, continue to give canned food drives for us, donations to keep the roofs over people's heads, lights on, just for general operating us to be able to take care of those specific needs that people are asking for. But our biggest impact right now is money for rents and utilities.
All right, and we have the website on the screen. Kyle Taylor, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you all.